Chicken Bone John here with the rescuing of my Shaftesbury Resonator, the DelVecchio Dinamico copy, and the damaged cone, which I've managed to straighten out a wee bit. Here's how I did it. I created this profile piece, which is the outer part of the cone. You can see it's got the well and the slope, and then these bits just cut out here so they don't foul the edges. So if you can see that's the outer form, and then I created an inner form. I already had a circle of wood, and I thought I only need to do the top part of the cone. I don't need the whole thing. So I routed out a hole in the center to take the well, and then just by hand put a chamfer on it. And then what I did, put that on the inner form, put that on, and I just rotated it round bit by bit. And then to finish it off, I just got another piece of softwood and just pushed that around. And then I took my form the other way around and then gently pushed this, rotating it bit by bit until we got the whole way around. Now it's not perfect and it might need a rework, but you can see it actually is, you know, it's the proper shape now, you know, like a shallow volcano. It comes up in a steady rise to the top and then it's flat. Biscuit sits on the top. I'm not sure if I might need to adjust that or actually put a packer underneath that biscuit, because it's resting on this rim, which is a little uneven. So I might just put a packer underneath there so it doesn't slip around, and I might do what they do with the National and just put a single screw in the middle to hold it. Okay, well, we'll get that back in the guitar and see if it works. Okay. Now I've gone along the route of trying to get this to work with nylon strings. When they were made, they would have been fitted with steel strings, but because of the pressure on the cone, and which has crushed it and so forth, I thought I might try giving it a go with nylon strings, because a lot of the originals were strung with nylon strings. Unusual for a resonator, but obviously not designed to be played with a slide and aggressively like a regular sort of National style resonator. So here it is. I've still got quite a few rattles, and it's still not projecting all that well. What I've done is I put a set of high tension classical guitar strings. They were quite cheap. I don't think they're a really good set. It poses a few problems fixing them onto the tailpiece, which is really wants to have ball ends. So what I did, I got these tiny little beads and threaded the string through that to actually create a ball end. So that seems to have worked okay. But the biggest thing I've done is I've swapped out the biscuit. The original, here's the original, which is a pretty heavy piece of wood with this adjustable bridge. This whole thing weighed about 65, nearly 70 grams. Now I made a new biscuit bridge. This is poplar with a maple saddle, and the whole thing that only weighed 30 odd grams. The whole assembly of the cone and the biscuit bridge is only about 60 odd grams, so it's a lot lighter. I'm not convinced that the cone is in good enough shape really. I pressed it out, still got a few buzzers. There's a lot of things rattling around, but I might try tuning it up. When I first did this, I tried that, but the strings kept pulling out of the tailpiece, you know, trying to tune it up a step or a couple of steps to get more tension, to get the cone to respond a bit. I've got a call out to Beard in America to see how much it will cost to get a new cone over here. I know they're about 80 bucks. It might be worth doing. The last resort, I could string it with steel strings, light steel strings, and see how I get on with it. But I did quite like the idea of this. I did quite like the idea of a different sounding resonator. I've not played a classical guitar for ages, nylon string, but this has got a, you know, regular acoustic neck, so it's narrow. As I say, I think the action's maybe a little low. It's still got a few rattles. I've left the string ends a bit long because anticipating problems here, I thought I might need the string length in case I snap a string or whatever. I'd forgotten how much these strings need winding up. There's so much stretch in them, but the tension is obviously much less than on the steel string, so there's less pressure on the bridge. It's less likely to crush it, but it's not going to make it project very well. So I'm still searching for thinking, how can I get it to project a bit. So I think it's just beginning to show what it might be capable of. Some higher tension strings, a replacement cone. If all else fails, I can go back to steel strings. I suspect if I put steel strings on here, the cone might not last. I don't know. It's not moved down, it's not pushed down with the nylon strings. So I could go back to steel strings. I could go back to putting the original biscuit on it. But it's such a handsome looking guitar. I don't want to give up on it. So this is, you know, it's still work in progress. It's not the finished article. It did occur to me that I might be able to put a pickup underneath the saddle or on the the biscuit. Just put an end pin jack, not have any controls on it, but have an active preamp, either with an outboard preamp or an internal one. It's got some potential, I think. I may let this sit and settle in, see what happens if I get a new cone, see if I can get some higher tension strings, or I might be daring and take the tuning up, or I might take these strings off, put a set of light steel strings on, or silken steel, let it settle, see what happens. It's a lot of faffing about and a bit of money to spend, but I did get it at a very good price. And as I say, I think it's too handsome, too pretty an instrument to just become a wall hanger or to move on. I say I had one before, and I think I was looking for it to do something it wasn't designed to. I got it as a resonator. I thought it would be like having a different sort of National. It's not that. It's a much mellower, quieter, gentle sort of guitar. If I could play a bit of Brazilian bossa nova, you know, Girl from Ipanema, this is what you want for that. And if I can get to project a little bit more, I did think about actually hollowing out the biscuit so it just sat on the edge. I'm not sure exactly the way this is connected. It just sits on there like the flat on this, and there's a flat table on the resonator. I wonder if it's better just sitting on the ring, so I might drill that out so it just sits on the perimeter of that. There's lots of things that can be done with this, and you know, I even thought about just taking that out and putting a piece of like spruce like you would have on the soundboard of a guitar. I think National did, was it a National Aragon or something, or somebody did a wooden resophonic guitar. Okay, I think they did a a wooden resophonic guitar. It looked like a resophonic guitar, but it got a piece of, you know, spruce soundboard underneath the top. Or I even thought about fitting a uke cone. Unfortunately, a national cone is just a bit too big, and the way it's beaded and turned on the outside would mean you'd have to cut that off and it would lose its integrity. But I did even think, with a nylon cone, could you fit a uke cone? And you'd have again, you'd sit it on a part of a soundboard underneath as a hybrid thing. Lots of things to be done and experimented with. I've got a lot of things to do in the workshop, but as a little hobby for me to progress over the next few weeks and months, I might keep returning to this and see if we can get it to sing a little sweeter and louder. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye for now.